Download the free Gun Dealio app to your smartphone. Find out about the latest deals and news on guns and gear. Includes the latest Gun Talk podcast and Gun Talk videos. That's Gun Dealio on the App Store and Google Play.
#1 national voice in defense of your Second Amendment rights. Gun Talk, available on iTunes and on the free Gun Dealio smartphone app for Android and iPhone. To be on the air with Tom, call us now, 866-825-5486 or 1-TOM-TALK-GUN. Now, here's Tom.
All right, back with the 866-TALK-GUN. Get you in here. We, just as I was heading to the break here, I saw this release that just came out from the folks at Gunsite. Of course, one of the finest firearms training academies anywhere. Gunsite Academy up in northern Arizona. And it just so happens that we were just able to get Ken Campbell, the operation manager, chief operating officer there, on the line with us. Ken, thank you. Did I get you off a shooting range, man?
Well, Tom, I'm just coming back from a gun show in Phoenix. Go figure.
Go figure. Exactly right. So, all right. So I saw this thing, and this is obviously in response to the Florida Parkland shooting, the school shooting there. Lots of noise about teachers, about this and that. And it seems like there's more misinformation than information out there. What do you think?
I think you're right, Tom. There's a lot of information out there. About arming all teachers and so on, and that's not what the case is. I think there's several teachers that should be armed, and many that want to be armed, and then the onus is upon us to get training available to them so that they can be armed.
Okay, well, you made this interesting offer, and that is for school superintendents, assistant superintendents, and school board presidents. In other words, the people who actually make the decisions, the policy makers.
Absolutely.
You're going to offer them a free 250 class.
That's exactly what we're doing. We want to reach the policy makers. I go back to my prior life as a county sheriff, and I had a school superintendent that wanted to be able to carry at the schools and wanted to know if I could deputize him. Well, we put him through all the requisite training to equate him as a reserve deputy, and he did the ongoing in-service training. He took a Gunsite 3-day 150 pistol course, which then I deputized him. So that let him have a gun in the school system. This program with Gunsite, we want to reach those policymakers, the superintendents, the assistant superintendents, and president of the school boards, both public and private schools, and we'll go to collegiate level also. And we want to make seats available in our 250 pistol class for those persons. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to have a full 250 pistol class of these folks.
Sure.
We're trying to put trying to mainstream them in with birth people that are taking our classes and get them trained up. And we released this, I think, last Thursday, and I've got about a half dozen folks signed up already. And I know in my email today I've had a few more folks respond as well. And I know after Gun Talk, as popular as you are, I know we're going to get more as a result of this. God bless you for it.
One of the things that people probably ought to know, because they think of Ken Campbell, you run a shooting school, so you want to promote this deal. In a former life, you were not only just the sheriff, you were also a SWAT team dude, right?
I was. I helped stand up our SWAT team back in my young dark-haired deputy's days, and and I was our lead firearms instructor for many years. I was very blessed with good sheriffs, and the sheriff that hired me and sent me to Gunsite also came to Gunsite. So that made my job a little bit easier because things were his ideas then, or at least we let him think that.
All right. For one of the things I keep hearing all this week, and you hear the same, people say, well, what could a teacher do? They brought a rifle. Teacher might have a handgun. There's going to be chaos. There's going to be things going on. They won't know what to do. They're liable to shoot a student and all. From your background with extensive training in SWAT, as an administrator, as a sheriff, as an instructor, as the operating officer, chief operating officer at Gunsite, when you see people go through a 5-day 250 class, I can tell them, but they're not going to believe me. Somebody walks in there and has no background, they come out 5 days later, what can they do?
We teach them how to fight with a gun. That's what Gunsite's mission is to take these responsible armed Americans and teach them to fight with it. So it's not just gun handling and marksmanship. A good part of what Gunsite teaches and what we're known for is the mindset part of it. And we're teaching you those 7 principles of personal defense. We're teaching you the color code. In that 5-day class, you're learning. You're actually doing live fire house clearing. So you're learning what you can and can't do, but most importantly, you're training your mind so you can be prepared. So not if, but when that bad event happens to you, it's not, oh, my God, what's happening? It's, I'm prepared for this. I'm ready for this. It's like the old tornado drills and fire drills. Mm-hmm. If you don't plan for it, you panic. But if you plan for it, I have a plan, and this is what we're going to do. And people aren't giving some of these teachers enough credit. There are some warrior-minded teachers out there, and I'll tell you what, one of the many things I did as a police officer as a part-time job is I was a substitute teacher at 2 of our high school corporations. Okay. So there's good teachers out there that want to be armed and want to be able to be that sheepdog taking care of those kids.
One of the things I know you get, we don't talk about probably enough, is you get regular feedback from former students who have been placed in a situation to have to use the training. How often does that happen, and what kind of messages do you get back?
We get multiple messages a month. Again, we're training. Our bread and butter is regular people, earth people. We get military and law enforcement also, but we get the messages. One that I still hold near and dear to my heart came from a Navy chief, a female chief, said, you guys saved my life. That's the kind of messages we get. Some of it, if it's a military law enforcement operation, we may not be in a need-to-know position. But others, I'll tell you another great example. We had a couple that had retired out of Florida. She was an honest-to-God rocket scientist, and he was also a scientist of some sort. They retired. They bought a big motorhome, and you and I are old enough to remember the commercial, but see the USA in my Chevrolet. Right. They were traveling the country, and one of the things they did is they came to Gunsite and did a 5-day pistol course. They liked it so much. They stayed in their campground. They liked it so much they stayed the next week for shotgun. They left Gunsite on a Friday evening and got up to Williams, which is, 2 hours from here, give or take. And I got an email from them later that night saying they were getting fuel there at one of the truck stops and said, we are confident our mindset kept us from getting robbed. We observed something, a person, a miscreant that we normally would not have seen, but the way we postured, the way we carried ourselves now, we think that miscreant thought they'll be an easier target and moved along. Well, that's an A-plus win. If we can do that with mindset, without the presentation of a firearm, that's a huge win. So things like that we get, and that's worth the paycheck right there. Absolutely.
Well, Ken, this is a fabulous offer.
Buzz we said that. Don't tell Buzz we said that's the paycheck. We like getting our paychecks.
Well, it's a fabulous offer for superintendents, assistant superintendents, and school board presidents. A free Gunsite 250 class. I need to contact you. You gave out that email address publicly. It's ken@gunsite, GUNSITE.com, right?
Absolutely. They reach out to me, and we'll visit, and we'll get things squared away for them.
Thank you, Ken. You stay safe. Keep building those sheepdogs, man.
Thanks, Tom. You come see us. You're overdue.
I am. I got to get back there. I got to get my remedial training. I'm always remedial, though. It's okay. Ken Campbell, one of the good guys out there. Yeah, and great school. You know, and there are a lot of good schools out there. As I say, just get to one and then get back to one and take a friend with you, take a family member with you. It'll change your life. It's as simple as that. Who should be carrying guns? You know? And what... I hate to even add, what do you think of an officer who sits out there and lets kids die, won't go in? 866-TALK-GUN.
What's important in a gun safe? Security, reliability, safety, good looks? It all comes down to quality. Quality that's built in from the beginning. Liberty Safe has made quality products for 29 years right here in the USA. Trust your guns, your valuables, and your safety to Liberty Safe. Did you ever regret buying quality? I didn't think so. Get the best. Whatever your budget, get a Liberty Safe. LibertySafe.com.
Since 1937, Ducks Unlimited has led the charge on wetlands and waterfowl conservation. Wetlands reduce the effects of flooding and recharge our drinking water. But perhaps most importantly, they allow us to experience what makes the outdoors so great. Band together to rescue our wetlands.
You got your carry permit, and that's good. But you know you could use more training. Get the DVDs, which have what you need. Springfield Armory presents Concealed Carry 1 and Concealed Carry 2 with Bata Group. Learn specific concealed carry skills from Top Gun fighting trainers. Get trained. Be prepared. This really is life and death. ShopGunTalk.com. That's ShopGunTalk.com.
Back with you. You know, the folks at Blink make these cool little cameras that you use, security cameras. I got them all over the place now. You can set them for motion detection so that they send you an alert and you can watch video from your phone from anywhere. I mean, you can be on the other side of the world and you're watching what's going on. You can watch the video. You can look at stills. They'll tell you the temperature. Pretty slick, and they're really, really small and easy to put up. They work off of your internet. You got to have internet at your house, okay? But it took me honestly about 5 minutes to set them up, and I am not a rocket scientist. All my friends would say, yes, that's correct. You definitely are not. So the folks at Blink, they say that you get 3 of their cameras for what the other guys charge for 1, and you get an extra 10% off with the Gun Talk code. Go to blinkprotect.com/guntalk. That's blinkprotect.com/guntalk. When you get there, you type Gun Talk, all one word, upper or lowercase, into the discount field, and you're going to get an extra 10% off. blinkprotect.com/guntalk. You see all of the companies bailing on the NRA? Enterprise, Hertz, Simply Safe, a bunch of others saying, well, we're not going to offer discounts for NRA members, and we're not going to offer the NRA. Wait a minute. What did the NRA do? They didn't do anything. They didn't have anything to do with this. They didn't shoot anybody. He wasn't an NRA member. They had no role to play in this. What's going on? I'll tell you what's going on. I've talked to you about this before. The other side is good at mobilizing. And what they did is they mobilized, they've got their list, and they said, all right, here's the deal. Here's your hit list. You need to now contact Hertz because they offer a discount code for NRA members. Look, you can get a discount code from Hertz for being a Delta customer or, for being in a teachers union. For any identifiable group can get a discount code from Hertz. But they say, well, we are hearing for a lot of people. They don't want us to offer that, so we're just not going to offer that. Now, is it going to have any effect? Well, it's going to cost NRA a little bit of money, but not much. It's not going to affect any of us. I don't know anybody who joined the NRA to get, a 5% discount on a rental car. Delta and United said they're not going to offer discounts. They offer their programs. Yeah, fine, who cares? I mean, you guys are insignificant, immaterial. But what it does do is it shows you how effective small groups can be when they work smart. And the gun ban lobby is small. Their groups are small. They don't have a lot of members. But I'm reminded way back when the American Sportsman Show on ABC TV, one year at the end of the show, they got 5,000 letters from people sent to Chevrolet that said, I'll never buy another Chevrolet because you sponsor that killing show. Chevrolet dropped the show. There were millions upon millions of people who watched this TV show and loved it. The guy at Chevrolet told my dad, who was a co-host of the show, says, well, yeah, but who needs the problems? Who needs the angst? It doesn't matter. There are other shows out there. What do? We sit on our butts. We never say thank you. How many times have I said, you got to call these radio stations that are running Gun Talk? Because people are calling them right now, and saying, you got to get that killing show off. You got to get that gun show off. You got to get that Gun Talk show off. And if that's the only voice they hear from, they think that's what's going on. And that's what's happened in this case. Now, long-term effect, none, I don't think. But what it does do, there is this. It does set up in the minds of the public that the tide is turned and the public doesn't like the NRA, doesn't like you, doesn't like gun owners, doesn't like gun ownership. It's not true. But if they say it long enough and loud enough and often enough, they can make it sound like it's true. It's up to us to push back on that. Simple. No, it's Enterprise and Hertz, in case you're wondering. Yeah, both Enterprise and Hertz have done this. So let's see here. Oh, I want to talk to Richard on line 2 in Oregon. Hey, Richard, you're on Gun Talk.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I have some concerns about my daughter-in-law who's a school teacher. She's a gym teacher. And the school refuses to lock the gym door. She's requested several times that it be locked, but they refuse to. And she's talked to her, of course, the principal is her immediate supervisor, but her regional supervisors talked to her, same response. No, we don't need to lock it. But so in a gym, somebody comes in with a gun. That's you got a lot of little targets running around in open space.
Well, now this is an exterior door for the school, right? So somebody can walk in from the outside into the school that way?
Well, their building is a separate building.
Okay, so it should be secured exactly the same way the school is. Do they leave exterior doors in the schools unlocked?
I'm not sure of that. They probably do, knowing them. Okay,
where is the school?
I hate to say because I don't want to get her in trouble.
What state's it in?
Oregon.
Okay, so it's in Oregon also. Okay. I think maybe the tide has turned a little bit on this, and now might be the time to go to them and say, look, as part of our school security plan, we need to lock all of the exterior doors, and that would include the gym. I think I'd go back and give it another shot.
Yeah, so I think we'll try to do. I tried to tell her I would go talk to the principal, but she said, no.
Yeah, no, Dad, don't go fight my battles for me. I know the urge, but yeah, don't go do that. But I appreciate the heads up. It's time for all of us to require, and require is not it. Not request, it's require that we have real security at schools, locked doors, a single point of entrance into schools that is monitored, that is protected. Oh, that costs money. Damn right. What are your kids worth? Simple. What are your kids worth? Are they worth $1? Yeah. Are they worth $10? Yeah. Are they worth $10,000? Yeah. Are they worth $100,000 for all those kids in that school? They better be. That's what it's going to cost you. Now, you would put that in to protect your money at a bank. Yeah, here we are again, back at that same old deal. We'll spend money to protect our cash. But not our kids. Cash, not kids. Interesting, huh? Vance is on line 3 out of Reno, Nevada. Hey, Vance, you got an answer for my question?
Yes, good afternoon again. There is a gun law that has reduced crime, Okay. Are you ready?
I know which one, but go for it.
Mandatory gun ownership in Kennesaw, and not only in Kennesaw, but many other places as well. We need to get a list of those places and start hitting the gun trolls with them.
Well, and also I would offer that the concealed carry laws, I think in many cases have reduced crime. They certainly have not increased crime. We know that. But, yeah, I guess what I should say is the gun control laws. But, yeah, you're right.
Well, gun restrictive laws is the term I think I'd use.
Yep.
Also, something I'm doing is we've had a lot of these anti-gun trolls come over onto websites, if I may name one of them, like Breitbart. And so what I'm doing is I'm going to take their tactic, turn it around on them. And I am going to go into places like Democratic Underground and CPUSA, and I'm going to start hitting them with the facts.
I can tell you what's going to happen. Wait, stand by just a sec. Here's what's going to happen. They're going to block you. They will cancel your account and block you because they cannot stand to hear opposite views. Now, on my Twitter account, I'm saying, hey, look, you come in, you got an argument to make it. Now, you can't get ugly. You can't get nasty because I'm not going to let you stay there. But if you've got a different viewpoint, state your case, state it well, and then stand by to defend it. But they're not going to let you do that there. And I'm sorry, but a lot of people have tried it. They don't want an opposite viewpoint. And one of the problems is, I just had this happen on my Twitter account. Young lady comes in, she posts a thing, and I say, okay, fine. What would your solution be? She's expected a fight or something. I said, okay, fine. Certainly you have some concerns. So what would your solutions be? What would you propose? And she posts back, she says, you couldn't handle my solutions, and then blocks me on Twitter. I'm thinking, all I did was say, okay, you're complaining about us and that we won't accept whatever it is you want. So what is it that you're proposing that we do? And even that is threatening to her. And so she bails out and blocks me on Twitter, which is fine. I mean, I don't need to, to know her or anything else. But it is indicative to me of the overall situation, which is I don't want to discuss this. I do not want to engage you on this. I just want to be able to scream at you. To a certain extent, I understand. When you are hurting, you want some relief. And screaming is relief. If you smack your finger with a hammer and you yell, that provides a form of relief. Okay? So people who are hurting about this want some sort of relief, something to ease the pain. And part of that is I got to be able to do something. I must be able to do something. I have to treat this hurt I have. I get that. I understand where it's coming from. What's hard to understand is a willingness to ignore history, ignore the track record, ignore the facts, ignore the people who have been involved in this for 50 years, people who teach gun safety, who have taught tens of millions of children to avoid guns with the NRA's anti-ego program, ignore all of that and say, we have the solution. We don't know anything about guns. Shoulder stock that goes up, or it's a shoulder thing that goes up. That's a barrel shroud. We don't know anything about guns, but we have the solution. And you'll pardon us if we look at that and go, I'm sorry, I think you probably don't know anything that you're talking about here. Simple as that. We don't trust you. We don't believe you. We know that you're ignorant. We're willing to discuss it, but evidently, you're not.
Sign up for our Gun Talk newsletter and join the Truth Squad at www.guntalk.com. Now, back to Gun Talk with Washington Times opinion page regular contributor Tom Gresham.
All right, two things before I jump into the calls. And if you're on hold, we got, Ted Vance, Monty, I believe it is. We got a bunch of people on hold. Don't go anywhere. We're going to get to you. Two things, though. One, and I know I shouldn't pay any attention to him at all. I usually don't. But on Fox News, Geraldo Rivera was watching him rail. He's such an anti-gun guy, which is weird because he carries a gun. But he says, and I wrote it down because I wanted to get it right, because he's railing against AR-15s. He doesn't know what they are, of course. And then he says this line, which is actually tells you a lot if you think about it. He says, well, an AR-15 changes your personality. Think about that. An AR-15 changes your personality. They think it has magic, evil properties that can transform people into killers. Not related to this at all, but I have to pass this along. I saw a couple of photos this week. Didn't want to see them, but saw them. Local man carrying a .380 pocket carry. How many times have I talked about pocket carry, people? It's got to be in a holster. It has to be in a holster. It must be in a holster. For safety's sake, you've got to cover the trigger guard. And he kept saying, nope, if I need it fast, I can't be fooling with a holster. Saw the pictures of the bullet wound in his leg. We managed to uncork it. Went in just below the knee, carved out pretty much a big chunk all the way down to his ankle. That was before they had to amputate the leg at the knee. Can we talk about proper holsters again? And pocket carry? It must be in a sleeve. It must be in a holster. The trigger guard must be covered. And be careful with aftermarket triggers. Make sure they're not wider than they should be than standard. Makes them more susceptible. Just a little safety thing. I'm sorry that you had to imagine that. I'm sorry I had to see it. But I'm really sorry he had to go through it. So there you go. Line 4, Ted's with us out of Aztec, New Mexico with something pretty interesting here. Ted, lay this on me.
Well, I got a question for you, Tom. We've got a law in place already concerning mental health on those forms that we fill out to buy weapons. Mm-hmm. Under Obamacare, anytime a doctor finds any kind of abuse, they're required to report it to the officials, right?
I don't know, I guess.
Well, you go to the doctor and they ask your kid if they've been hit, they're touched or whatever, and they got to report that to the officials. If they're prescribing medication for anxiety or any kind of mental health, why are they not reporting that?
I don't know.
Because as you know, and I do, on that form, it specifically asked if we've ever been diagnosed with mental health issues.
Well, here's another thing for you. In most states, people don't know this, there are a whole bunch of drugs, prescription drugs, that if you're taking them, you are not legal to drive a car. A whole bunch of them. I don't know. I don't know what can be done with that. It's interesting. But to the point of the psychotropic drugs, those are the ones that I'm very concerned about. And particularly younger people who are on all these different kinds of drugs, either on them or recently off of them, the ones that have the warnings that say may cause homicidal ideation. Yeah, it may make you dream about killing people. Okay, that's a problem. I appreciate it. Thank you, Ted. Interesting idea. All right, let's go to line 1. Deb's with us out of Atlanta, Kansas. Hey, Deb.
Hi. I'm a former teacher, and when I hear people talking about that teachers shouldn't have guns, they shouldn't be put in this position, the first thing I think of is that these people think teachers aren't smart enough or capable enough to learn new skills and new mindsets. You're only smart enough to go out and teach, but you can't learn yourself. And it just isn't true. There are plenty of teachers and people from all walks of life who are able to learn these skills and carry on with this.
Actually, you know, they mean only the women teachers aren't smart enough, Deb.
Well, that might be part of it, too.
I'm having visions now of my wife and daughter-in-law and several women I know going through Gunsite and moving and shooting and doing malfunction drills and shooting from the ground and flopping over and clearing houses and running through houses and shooting them up. And these are all women. And some of them are teachers. I'm thinking, tell me again how a teacher couldn't possibly do this?
Yes. That's what I hear when they start talking about that they're not smart enough.
I think you're right. I think they said they're not smart enough. Now, and the other thing that happens, and you're a teacher, you understand this, there's this thing called projection, where they look at it and say, I don't think I could do that. And then they project that out to, well, then if I couldn't do it, then others couldn't do it. Because what it really amounts to is if others can do it and I know I can't, it makes me somehow inferior. And I don't want to feel that way. So I will therefore arrive at the position that no one could do this since I think I couldn't. Does that make any sense?
It does. I hadn't thought about it that way, but it does. Right. It does make sense.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of projection going on here of people who know they either would be unwilling or unable to do it. And look, and that's okay. I'm not saying everybody should do it. And nobody's saying that all teachers should be, given guns and that's a requirement. No. Every proposal I've ever heard says, just get out of the way and let the ones who seriously want to do this. Thank you for your call, Deb. I appreciate that. Donald Trump said something about paying teachers extra to do that. I think it's a bad idea. I think what that does is encourages people to do that, who just get the extra paycheck. We just saw what happens in the case of a police officer who was there to get the paycheck, clearly not there to save lives. I am so distraught over, I'm going to say the guy's name, Scott Peterson's unfortunate name, the officer who sat back there for 4 minutes hiding behind his car while kids are getting killed. Here's the deal, guys. The new rules over the last 15 years are, first officer, there goes. You go. It's the stopwatch of death. Hit a stopwatch and watch it go tick, 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 tick. People die if you don't move. Simple as that. People die if you don't get in there. 866-TALK-GUN, or just call me at Tom Talk Gun. All right, your chance to rant. Just what did it make you feel like? How did it make you feel when you heard this officer sat out there and didn't go in? 866-TALK-GUN.
Laser sights enhance and maintain your accuracy in a time of crisis. Whether you're unbalanced, evading a threat, or engaging from behind cover, a laser sight aids in keeping you on target. Call 800-442-2406 or visit crimsontrace.com for a free copy of our laser training video, The Laser's Edge, and learn more about why Crimson Trace is making laser sights standard equipment.
If you carry a gun, you need training. Your concealed carry class was definitely not training. But time, money, and obligations keep you from spending days at a shooting school. The trusted folks at Gun Talk can help. Concealed Carry 1, our DVD featuring the VADA Group, covers what gun, what holster, how to carry, where to wear your gun, and much more. Visit shopguntalk.com. That's shopguntalk.com. Look, this really is life and death. Learn how to stay aware, how to get away, and how to fight if you must. At shopguntalk.com, you can get the 2 DVD set, including Fighting with the 1911 with Tiger McKee. No matter what gun you carry, this vital training info can save your life. Learn the draw, the stance, reloading, vital gear from Gun Talk. That's shopguntalk.com. shopguntalk.com.
Brownells has gone retro. Check out Brownells' new line of retro AR-15 and AR-style 308 rifles at brownells.com/retro. Whether you're looking for Eugene Stoner's original 308 design, the famous M16A1, Air Force 601, or the XM177 carbine, Brownells has the classic, new production, old-school rifle of your dreams. Own the firearm you used in basic training, carried in service, or that Grandpa always talks about. See more at brownells.com/retro.
Well, from the control room here, we get the advice that one of the first things we ought to do is take down the damn signs. Take down all the no-gun signs. Take down the gun-free zone signs. Get rid of all of them. By the way, you might want to check out, in your state, you may be illegal around a school or even in a school with your concealed carry permit. It varies state to state, but the federal law does allow that to happen. Depends on what your state rules are. In my state, I can't go into the school or on the school property, but I can be inside the mythical gun-free zone 1,000-foot barrier because I have a carry permit. You check your local rules. But I think that's probably not a bad way to go. By the way, we were talking earlier about the FASTER program in Ohio. It was actually, this is where they teach teachers and administrators to shoot, get them qualified. It was actually started by TDI, Tactical Defense Institute, and John Benner. They started that program, gave it to Buckeye Firearms Association. They are set up, if you would like to make a donation to help them fund this so they can continue to teach, you can go to the FasterSavesLives.org, FasterSavesLives.org. Line 4, Ken's with us in Medford, Oregon. Ken, what's happening in Oregon?
Hey, well, more than I can handle with all the liberals. But my question is you had some information, and you were talking about the guy with the 380 that put it in his pocket and he blew a hole in his leg.
Yep.
I have, and I've talked to you in the past, I have a H&K VP9.
Okay.
And I have 2 different tactical holsters that I have purchased for this thing, and they just don't work well as an open carry to go to the range and practice. I've been trying to find a source for a leather holster, and I can't find one.
Just a pure, straight-up leather holster for it.
Yes.
Let's see. I'm thinking of just a belt holster. Names that come to mind would be Safariland, Galco, and then you move into some of the smaller outfits. You might try those 2, Safariland, Galco. Of course, I mean, obviously something like crossbreed holsters, you can wear those open. Alien Gear may have something for you. Very good companies, and they're sponsors. They help us out here. There's a little bitty company. I mean, there are a bunch of little companies making leather holsters. They may not have a form for it, but if they're small enough, they may say, yeah, well, send us your gun, and we'll use it to block it out and make a mold, basically, and now we'll be able to make a holster for it. Somebody like Lobo Gun Leather, and there's a bunch of them out there like that. But that's probably what you're going to have to do.
Custom leather made for my cowboy guns because I do cowboy action and, to have access that way. But I haven't found anything. This is my first semi-automatic pistol. And I'm a little, this whole tactical thing is kind of a little out of my league. But I've bought 2 holsters that were highly recommended and been really not worth a crap trying to get them out at any kind of expediency.
Well, yeah, you've got concealed holsters and then you've got range holsters, and the two rarely are the same.
Well, this is just a hip holster. I'm not even looking for concealed. I'm just looking for a hip holster that I can use at the range and also hunting.
Okay. Yeah, I would say do a little poke around. Check Galco, check Safariland. And if they don't work for you, start looking for custom or small outfits, like I say, Lobo Gun Leathers and some other folks out there. And you may end up having to have a custom holster made, and that's okay, too. Then you got something that's really cool.
That doesn't bother me. I'm just trying to find a source. Here in Southern Oregon, it's all about tactical, and everything's nylon.
No, you're not going to find it locally. You got to go in, get on the internet, start searching. Every question you've asked me, just type it into a Google search. It'll turn up, okay? Ken, I got to keep moving here. We got Dave on 3 out of St. George, Utah. Dave, what's going on here?
Hi, just a quick comment on the problems with the deputies going into the active shooter at the school.
Right.
I'm wondering if there was, a possible communication problem, and number 2, if they were working on bad intel. The video cameras inside the school were on a 30-minute delay.
Right.
And 3, maybe training or lack of. The more I hear about the sheriff, I have big questions about his law enforcement background, but also a long history of political correctness. All the calls they went to at the shooter's residence, maybe they were afraid to make a judgment because you could not make judgments in the politically correct atmosphere. And if they were cowards, they should be history. But I can't imagine that many deputies being cowards.
Yeah, well, obviously the one, Scott Peterson, he's gone. He was placed on unpaid leave, and then he resigned that day. It's a good point. I appreciate the call, sir. For those who aren't aware, the Broward County school system and the police have an agreement, and what they're basically doing is what I've seen happening in a lot of cities, where they say, we will improve our crime rate, and what they do is they simply dumb down the definition of crime. You know what? We're not going to have as many assaults here if we simply don't arrest anybody for assault. And that's what it looks like with what was going on at the school. We want to reduce the number of students who get arrested, the number of reports of problems. And so the police were told, just don't do it. Just don't arrest them. Look the other way. If it's a small amount of pot, look the other way. If it's a small assault, look the other way. If it's this, don't make a report. No reports. Because if there are reports, then the media can find them, other people can find them. So don't put them. So they made all these calls out there and there weren't reports on them, on this guy. Could be that that's part of what was going on. But in the end, all right, here's the deal. In the end, you put on the badge, you put on the uniform, you put on the body armor, you put on the gun, and when kids are getting killed, you get off your ass and you move. You go in there and you take care of the problem. And yeah, you may not come home. That's what you signed up for. If you're not willing to do that, every one of you take off the badge and go get a job doing something else, because that's what the job is. Simple as that. If you can't do that, get out of the way and let us get in there, because there are a bunch of us who are sheepdogs, and we're not going to let kids die on our watch. Back with you here, going straight to the phones. Line 4, Doug's with us out of Cortez, Colorado. Doug, talk to me.
Howdy. I just wanted to let you know that it's been the last 8 years that I taught as a teacher in the Four Corners area in Arizona that I carried a firearm every day because of an issue which was similar to the Jonesboro incident, which I was living in Arkansas at that time and had the longest hunter safety course in the United States. But there was an issue with a coach who and a parent was coming after the coach, and they emptied the school out into the outside while the kids waited for the buses to come and pick them up, while they did not know where the shooter or the attempted carrier was at.
Right.
So I decided it was time that I needed to carry to protect my part of my school and the students and myself if necessary, but mostly. Did
you get the okay from anybody, or just do it on your own?
No, so that was my decision that at my age and that something needed to be done to protect the kids. I had a principal who carried a firearm. I found out because he asked me to put it back together for him when he cleaned it, and a superintendent who also carried a 9mm during that 8-year period. But it was just about a 30 to 45-minute time response to get a SWAT team or a police response to this area in way out in Arizona to get a police response. So I decided, whatever the result was going to be, that I was going to be prepared to try to stop a shooting incident and take care of the students and the teachers in my school.
All right. Well, look, I appreciate you passing that along. Yeah, you do what you got to do. I suspect there are a lot of teachers who are carrying. I suspect there are a lot of people who work in schools who carry. Don't tell anybody. Here's the deal. If you do that, don't tell anybody. Don't tell your best friend at work. Don't tell your best friend anywhere. Just do it and don't talk to anybody about it ever, ever, ever. Okay? It's between you and your God and nobody else. Nobody needs to know. Do what you got to do. By the way, and keep getting training. Keep practicing. People go, well, I shoot a lot. That's fine. That's good, but it's not training. It's not the same thing. And I know you don't have to be a ninja to do this, but the better you are, the better prepared you'll be, and the more you'll be able to help people who need help. One other thought, just a thought for you here. It's about a half-day class. Go get a class in trauma medicine, basic stuff, airways and bleeding, okay? How to use a tourniquet and carry a tourniquet with you. Could have saved a lot of lives in there. And we're getting the reports now that the police actually kept the medical people out of the school while kids are bleeding to death. There's a lot to be answered for here, a lot to be answered for with the sheriff at Broward County. He's got to go. Simple as that. He's got to go. In the meantime, buckle up. It's going to get ugly for a little while here. The longer we stretch it out, the more we can have a reasonable conversation as opposed to just jumping in and do something, okay? Get involved. Get the conversation going. Talk about this. Get informed. Don't get mad. Stay calm. You keep asking questions. Well, what would your solution be? Well, we got to get rid of assault weapons. Okay. Well, describe to me how the weapons you want to ban, the rifles you want to ban, are different from the rifles you don't want to ban. There's a question for you. Let me give that to you again. When they start talking about it, you say, well, describe to me how the rifle you want to ban is different from the rifle you don't want to ban. That makes them think about details, and they go, they actually don't know anything about this stuff. Because they talk about 30 caliber clips, high-powered clips. It goes on and on. It's just nutty stuff, all right? In the meantime, just, you might go and do what a lot of us are doing. Give it away NRA memberships. That's a good thing. Look, I'm not the biggest fan, but we all have to belong. Take care of your family. Keep them trained. Check your six. Be careful. And keep those arguments going. It makes a difference.